Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel again, and today this is going to be the last part of my Costa Rica vlog adventure, part 3. I don't usually break up videos, especially vlogs, into 3 parts, but I got so much stuff and recorded so much stuff on that trip that I had to. So right now, this is on our way to La Fortuna in Costa Rica. So we made a pit stop where we were able to stretch our legs, use the restroom. Of course, there was a souvenir shop in the area where I went, even though I know better. And after that, we drove again and we passed a couple of places and we just kept driving until we reached a second pit stop, which was downtown La Fortuna, where there was also more stuff to buy and just look around. And then we stopped at this national park that's supposed to be specific for slot sightseeing. So we went there and we saw this lizard, obviously. And then we saw like a couple of things. It was basically like a path. It wasn't as strenuous as the La Catara National Park, but it wasn't a stroll either. And we were tasked to spot the slots. Can you see it now? Haha, he's right there in that tree. And then there was also like different plants that we saw that were really cool. We also saw a bunch of birds. Even though this park is specific for slot sightseeing, we saw a bunch of birds, including these birds that were hiding in the tree. Those are really cool. And then we also was able to take pictures of like the scenery and like other areas of the park, which I thought was really cool. They took us on this like little walk where we were able to like see different like smaller species, like ants carrying leaves and wasp and trees. And this time we had an actual like tour guide instead of the program director. So we actually had telescopes this time so that we could see the animals high up in the trees, which I was so grateful for because it made life so much easier. See, we were able to spot that little lizard camouflaging in the tree. If you can see him, 1, 2, 3, he is right there. And then we took another walk throughout this area of the national park, and there was 2 guys with us, so we were able to take turns using the telescope. And then we had like a most wanted list for these poison dart frogs. And can you see him? 1, 2, 3, there he is, just hiding in those leaves. And then we saw more slots, but they didn't want to be disturbed, so we couldn't get a good picture of them. And then we continue walking. We're able to see a lot of the vegetation within the area. And then we saw this cool mountain that apparently looks like Donald Trump. Can't unsee it now, but it's okay. And then he showed us this tree that has like a little sap that could turn into rubber, which was really cool. Then our second most wanted was this poison dart frog, strawberry poison dart frog, which we saw, which was kind of scary but also kind of cool. He was just hopping away. And then we saw this bullet ant, which is very dangerous. If you get stung by that, it's almost as if you got shot. That's why it's called a bullet ant. And then we finally was able to make it to our hotel for the weekend, which is Hotel Magic Mountain. And this is the hotel that has the hot springs, which is why most people go to La Fortuna in the first place, to visit the hot springs. I took a picture of the roof because I thought it was pretty cool. Look at the clouds, they're so detailed. And then this was our room. This is me doing like a little impromptu room tour. They gave us coffee, they gave us a big TV, they gave us like a little bed and stuff. And then this is the actual hot spring which we went into, and they also had a jacuzzi which we did dip into after because the hot spring wasn't as hot as we wanted to be. Later we went out for pizza with like half the group, and this pizza was so good. I enjoyed every slice of it. And then after that, me and a small group of us went on an excursion to do this chocolate tour, which was so confusing to find in the first place because we did the register online and we tried to take a taxi because there's no Ubers in the area, and the taxi took us to the waterfall area. However, we needed to get to the chocolate tour area, and this is the map to see how far it was. So we had to walk all the way down to the chocolate tour. We missed our early morning appointment, so then we had to wait for the 10 o'clock appointment so that we could get on the tour. But it was fine. So we were able to get on a tour anyways, and the guy was super nice about it, and they took us on the tour. This is all their cocoa trees in the area. which was really cool. They try to do a lot of like organic stuff, so they try not to use pesticides on their cocoa trees to get rid of any of the pests. So most of these are like naturally grown. And then this is like the cocoa fruit, and it was so big. And then this is the area where they roast all the seeds that they get from said fruit, which is used for the chocolate. And this is a vanilla bean tree where they used to make their vanilla to put in said chocolate. And then this is just other trees that are used within the plantation to minimize the amount of pests that are destroying the cocoa tree. As you can see here, I'm just doing close-ups on like the different plants in the area. I just thought it was really nice that they're trying to grow these cocoa trees as organically as possible. And this is just a close-up of the vanilla bean in a cinematic way. Why not? And then this is us walking around the plantation area. He gave us like 5 to 10 minutes to walk around the plantation area, take as much pictures and videos as we want before they actually do the chocolate demonstration. So that's what we did. So this is just me just walking around trying to see all the cocoa trees and all the different things that they had on the plantation. And I thought it was really cool that they let us do this. And then this is us walking closer and closer to the actual place where the demonstration is going to be. So I was excited about that. Just us walking closer and closer to it. And I was actually excited because I absolutely love chocolate. I have a big sweet tooth. So when this group told me that they were going on a chocolate tour, I was like, sign me up, take my money. It was like $30 for the tour, so it wasn't that bad. So first, they showed us how they actually process the cocoa. So this is how the flesh looks inside the cocoa fruit before it is dried out. And then they go through a fermentation process when it's dried for different days. And the more fermented it is, the better it is to make chocolate. And this is how it looks when the seed is all nice and dry. They had us try it at this stage, and this is pure 100% cocoa, so it was a bit bitter, but it wasn't too bad. And then they showed us like all the seeds that have been fermenting, and after that they have to crush them with this huge molten pata thing that they had. And they had like different volunteers that came up and actually crushed like these seeds. And it was kind of cool to like see the process happen right in front of our eyes. Honestly, I probably could have speed up this video, but I forgot to when I was doing the voice recording. So I'm sorry if this is taking a while, but I'm telling you guys, it was such a great sight to like actually see this happen firsthand. And then they had to separate the shells from the actual like meat of the seeds. So they did this process where they would like fan shells away, because the shells are a lot lighter than the actual meat of the cocoa. So once they did this fanning movement, all the shells will just fall onto the floor, and the seed meat would stay inside the bowl, which I thought was really smart of them to do. And I felt like this is a great way to do this naturally without having to use much machinery to get this process done. And then we had a bunch of different ingredients, because at first they gave us like this cocoa drink. So they had ingredients for that at first. And this is them kind of like crushing this meat even more. They want to get it as fine as possible to make it easy to make the chocolate and the cocoa drink that we're going to taste very soon. I thought this was really cool, seeing this process happen firsthand, and they were very good at explaining what was happening. And I actually tried this part. I didn't record me doing it, I just recorded somebody else doing it. And this is just them like separating the last bit of shells inside the cocoa and actually like trying to get as much out as possible for the meat. And I thought that was really cool. This is how that cocoa looks after going through that process, so it's a lot more sticky and put together. And then they use that part to make this drink. So this is like a traditional drink. It's not really hot cocoa. Hot cocoa is very much a traditional drink that's used in a lot of Native American countries before it was discovered that cocoa could be used to make chocolate. And I actually got to try the chocolate really quickly. And then we stopped at this restaurant because we have to rush back to check out because we were running out of time. We actually had to leave the tour early. So when we got to this restaurant in downtown La Fortuna, we got something to eat. I got a virgin pina colada and this like quesadilla, which was really pretty. And then after that, we had to drive back home for the next thing that we were planning to do this final week in Costa Rica. And while we were driving home, it was very foggy. We were not expecting so much fog to be within the area. But our bus driver, he pulled through and he drove us home, so I was glad about that. And then the next day, I say it's the next day, it was probably like 2 days after, we had a coffee tour that we were scheduled to do during the week. So they took us to that. That's us driving to the place. And this is us driving into the gates of the coffee tour, and it had a lot of big trees and little trees, and it just was like a big facility where they would just make coffee in Costa Rica. And Costa Rica is known a lot for their coffee, so this is a big time facility for them. You can see the little mural over there, and this is the bus finding parking. And then they gave us like this brief history of how coffee was developed and how it was made. And this is just him explaining like the different areas of Costa Rica and how they grow their different types of coffee. And this is just him showing us how. And then we tried our first sip of coffee, and I was so jittery after drinking that coffee. I don't drink coffee regularly. I actually prefer tea, which has a lot less caffeine in it than coffee. And I did not realize that how much coffee I drank, and I was jittery all day. This is where they show us how to grow their coffee beans using these trees. So coffee beans are technically not beans, they're actually seeds that are from fruits. So they'll like grow the fruits first before they could actually get the seeds, which will later be coffee beans. And this is just him explaining to us how to get workers to actually pick the fruits, the said fruits. And then this is us walking through like the different varieties of coffee trees that they have. They have a couple of different species in this facility, which I thought was cool. Then this was like a little sip of coffee that I took, and that was the end of me. I could not drink any more coffee after that because I was just super jittery and not like really feeling very well. So after that, he took us on a more of a walk throughout the facility, showing us like the different vegetation that's within this facility besides the coffee trees. And then he took us to like the factory where they actually inspect the coffee beans and actually put them through a process so that they could make the different types of coffee that they do within the facility. And then he gave us like a little demonstration throughout the facility where he showed us actually how they prepare said coffee and how to better prepare the coffee, which I thought was really cool. And then we were taken to another souvenir shop, and I spent more money, sadly, but it wasn't all for me. It was for my mom and I to try these like coffee chocolates that had fruit inside. And then I bought coffee for my roommate because she really loves coffee. So it was I like I said, I spent more on other people than I did on myself. So that was just me. And then they had this cute little mural outside the souvenir shop. I took a picture of that. When I got home, I finished Watch Marshall because I was behind on this anime. So I just watched till the end because it was done. And then we took a trip in the evening to like this restaurant where we had our final dinner where we could say goodbye to all of our group and the program directors. It was very emotional. People were crying. We said goodbye to everybody and we took a group photo. And then this is us leaving Costa Rica at 6 in the morning, and I had to wake up 3 in the morning to get to my flight, sadly. But it was super fun. I didn't take much videos of that because I was super tired, so I just slept for most of the time I was there, and I wasn't feeling 100%, so that was pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna use this outro to talk about what I learned while I was in Costa Rica. So obviously I learned some Spanish, not a lot, but I do understand it a lot better. I just can't speak it very well. I also learned that it's okay to try new things, and I was really excited when I was able to get this opportunity. I also learned that a lot of people in Costa Rica actually do watch anime, which I thought was really cool. And overall, this place was really nice. Would I go back there again? Probably. I actually enjoyed my time there, and I hope you guys enjoyed these set of vlogs. Bye-bye!